Okay, my topic today is about crypto wars. The Force Awakens and why crypto regulation is doomed to fail. So what are we talking about? I think everybody knows this guy on the right. That's Julius Caesar, and he invented a very easy encryption scheme by substituting letters from the alphabet, by shifting them. So the A becomes a D, the B, an E, and so on. And he thought that's very secret. Yes, indeed, if we see the example here, TEDxKielUniversity becomes WHDAN and so on. So, well, obviously encrypted, confidential. We don't get what is the meaning of that. But also, everybody who knows how to translate it back, namely knows the key, this is 3 letters, this is the original Caesar cipher, knows how to transform it into the clear text again. Of course, you could also try to break the code. And if you have a long text, that's very easy, because usually the frequency of letters in the alphabet is very different. You see here, the 5th letter in the alphabet, in the English alphabet, is E, and this is the highest frequency. So this has not been very secure. Some people think strong crypto is only for spooks or politicians, but we see a lot of professions that rely and have to rely on confidentiality, that is encryption. For example, in the medical files, for example, lawyers, priests, for example, those who are inventing something and don't want to share the invention earlier than necessary, or also the police. It can also be for communication, for your health and fitness data. You decide whether you want to share them or not. For your worst drinking behavior, or if you feel depressed, if you feel ashamed, if you feel alone, if you don't feel as you want to, or if it's simply about surprising somebody. So there are very good reasons for confidentiality, and crypto can help with that. And the reality is, and you know the guy on the left top here, Snowden, we know from the files he revealed that the reality today is that governments, secret services, analyze emails, communication, store them in advance, bulk collection, and the same is done by companies. If you read the terms and conditions, you will very often find that they are looking into your email. This would have been forbidden in other countries, but very big companies in the internet industry are using that. If we think not about the cipher from Julius Caesar, but about more advanced crypto, we see that it's a little bit more complicated, but still manageable. So Alice has generated with her software a key pair, that is a public part and a private part of her key. And if Bob wants to send her a message, he encrypts the message with her key, her public key. She can publish this key, and then everybody can send her a message. But the only person who can decrypt this message is the person in possession of the private key, the corresponding private key, and that's herself. That is, only Alice can see what others are sending her as encrypted message. It's comparable to a kind of padlock. I have opened padlocks, and I will give them to all of you together with boxes, and you can put in the message into the box, seal it by the padlock, and then give it to me again, and I have the keys for that, the private keys. So everybody can send me messages, and it's not that easy as the Caesar cipher to get back on that. Crypto is available for hard disks, for your computer files, for memory sticks, or if you want to access websites, if you want to enter information that is confidential, for example, your password. You should never enter your password in an unencrypted website. The same for credit card information. And of course also for exchanging confidential messages. The technology behind is different, but still it comes down to very secure algorithms. And in fact, you see here in the window in the middle, this is part of my public key. You can send me emails if you use my public key. How secure is today's crypto? Quite secure. But there are three kinds of vulnerabilities. The first one is the crypto brute force. That is trying out all possible keys, and at some point in time you will find the right keys and say, yes, that's it, I can decrypt now. Or much easier usually is the brute force in the human world. Perhaps it's more the inhuman brute force if it's about torturing or blackmailing people and getting out the key information. The left brute force, the crypto brute force, with today's technology takes hundreds of years if all fast computers combine their forces. Perhaps not if you're working in a secret service and if you're trying to make the crypto technique vulnerable. And now we come to the last thing, that is the regulation. The regulation on crypto, and indeed this is what is meant by crypto wars. I've been working in the field since more than 20 years, and since then there were different waves of the crypto war, that is, people demanding regulation for cryptography. The one thing to regulate is the export. If nobody can get access to the strong crypto, or only your citizens in a state can get access, then of course it's restricted. Also, you maybe have more possibilities to get the access to the content. This was happening in the mid of the 90s when the first internet browsers were distributed, and one version for the international use with a very weak crypto algorithm, and the others with stronger keys for the US market. So you see here 40-bit was only allowed to be used in the German or European market. Thank you very much. I'm not a boy group, but still I get something for my, well, pullovers here. And you see here, this was from the mid of the 90s. I bought it 20 years ago, and cryptography at that time was considered a weapon. And here we see the law considering as munition, and it was not allowed to export this information. This was printed in Europe. Otherwise, we would not have been allowed to buy it. So this is the US crypto algorithm. It's, well, today it's nothing. It's okay, but it's not very secret, of course. And everybody got the message, you cannot control the exports because it's so easy to import what is necessary if you want strong crypto. Okay. At that time, by the way, in France, crypto was forbidden, and right now it's heavily regulated there. And the other thing, how to influence regulation is, well, perhaps not really using the law, but building in and demanding backdoors, a shortcut to get to the clear text of the messages. And we know from the Snowden files that the NSA has set up an own operation target, and they want to insert vulnerabilities into commercial encryption systems and also influence standards and policies. So some experts think that all commercially available cryptography may now be prone to backdoors. You see the journalist here is making the message, dear NSA, thanks for making us all insecure. Because indeed, this is harming our infrastructure, the internet, the communication, everything our information society is based on. It's a little bit similar to locks when traveling to the US. So the passenger luggage can be locked, but the luggage may be inspected by the Transport Security Administration. And if you use the so-called TSA lock, this is what you find on the market, if you are looking for locks for your bags, then they can use their master keys and open them, look into your luggage, and then pass the security checks. Otherwise, they would have to cut the lock if they want to have a check. Are the master keys now, you see a picture of them, now it's available, in good hands? So some pictures were shown, I think, about 3 years ago, and it took not long, And then the 3D printers were used to make your own sets for these keys. So meanwhile, it's public knowledge. Everybody can get access to those keys. And now, of course, the question is, if anybody locks the luggage with the TSA lock, is it now secure? Should anybody now do something? For example, revoke them? Can you go to the shop and say, now you sold me crap, I want something different? So it's very difficult if you rely on master keys. And the key escrow, the storage of keys, at some organizations shares the same problem. This is something which is very often demanded by regulators, that everybody who wants to encrypt may do so. But please, beforehand, issue all your keys you are using to one organization. And they will make sure that access is only granted under specific conditions, well, defined by the state. But would you hand over your entire key ring of your apartment, your workplace, or your car? Probably not, because perhaps it's a law that some police investigations may have a look at your apartment, but then you are at least aware of that. They must not come to you and tampering with the locks. And similar is something where there's no key escrow in the beginning, but everybody from the state can ask you to hand over the key, and if you don't comply, then there may be imprisonment. And this is, for example, in the UK Regulation of Investigatory Powers Act. There's no court order, so you can be asked and pressed into handing over keys. Okay, but even then, there are several possibilities to circumvent these regulations. For example, can you see here in the picture of me the treasure map? It's embedded. Only if you use the right software, you can find this treasure map and the text on that, and it's embedded on the picture. It's called steganography. It's about hiding information in information. Not necessarily only in pictures, but it can also be hidden in other formats. And here is the software I used to modify my picture. If you don't have the comparison, and even by eye-to-eye comparison you won't get the difference, then you don't know that something is embedded. The other thing is a circumvention by crypto itself. The first thing is, of course, you can hand over the keys. But if you do so, of course, there may be a second layer of encryption. So you have two keys. One is handed over, everybody checks, yeah, it's all right. But then it's decrypted and it's still encrypted. Okay. In this case, it will be noticeable that you have encrypted your files in a second way, or, well, some technology went wrong. Well, different ways why it may not work. The other thing is even more clever, that there are two different keys, and one key, the handed over key, shows the innocent text, and the other my treasure map. You see the example here, a very complicated message, and the first key you hand over says grandma is well, and the right key, this one I want to use, says this is the location of the treasure. So this can be done unless even the software use is regulated. If you only can use crypto software that is regulated and allowed, then this can be prevented, but everybody with a computer can make use of other cryptography tools. So does crypto regulation work? The export control has not worked, and strong crypto is publicly available. Sometimes the installations may not be alright, but the algorithms are published and you can make use of them. Backdoors are very high risk, and therefore it's not recommended to go into that direction. This may harm our infrastructure, our society, and think of smart cars, smart homes, and so on, if there's no guaranteed confidentiality against criminals. And the key escrow thing is also a high risk, and it can be circumvented. So what do we have here now? What is my dream, and I hope the reality, that we get used to crypto and we need more and not less good crypto. Because it's the foundation of the information society, because this crypto war comes in waves and all over the place. I think now we have the fourth wave I've experienced, and always it's proposed by politicians who don't know else what to do but are not aware of the still similar argumentation. What I like you to do, try out crypto. You can make use of that. It's available on the internet. If you don't know how, if there are problems, there are crypto parties in many areas. Probably where you live, there's also a crypto party. And then I think the force will really awaken. Thank you very much.